the channel. First of all, I want to thank everybody that's watched the video yesterday. It's just went a bit mad. Thanks for everybody that subscribed, that liked the video. Please continue to do so. Please have a look back, see where we are, because my views definitely haven't changed on the whole scenario around Daniel FARKE and Leeds. But I want to make this morning purely because of two things. I seen the thing with Graham Smith yesterday, and I've also seen people coming out today saying apparently Corberan behind the scenes has agreed with Leeds. What he's agreed, I don't know. Has he agreed anything? I don't know. People claim they're ITK. It's just a rumour. Might come true. Don't know. My point is this. When there's a lot of fans, all of us seem to be resigned to the fact or coming around to accept the fact that FARKE is going. That's a given. It's just when. So some people say give him the Villa game. Some people say give him the Liverpool game, which is the fourth game away. Because it doesn't matter if we bring somebody in. What does it matter? They're going to lose anyway. What kind of attitude is that? Surely you want to bring somebody in to look at the players that we have to get them into some type of shape, tactical awareness, to put his impetus into that squad of players to try and compete. Whether that's playing a 5-4-1 to keep clean sheets over those 4 games, to gain a bit of confidence, whether that's to go a wee bit more attacking and get somebody up alongside DCL or Nemecha, bridge that gap from the midfield, that 25 metre, 25 foot, whatever gap, leaving them isolated. Something has to give. It's not a matter of if FARKE will be replaced, it's a matter of when. The 49ers, I made a point the other day in one of my videos, and people are coming out because of Graham Smith last night. And Graham Smith was on the podcast, Square Ball, the other day, and Square Ball are very good. Very good. They're a great listen. And he said something about he would be stunned if Daniel FARKE left, especially after how the 49ers spoke a few weeks back and all the rest. Football shifts, and football shifts very, very quickly. And even the strongest FARKE supporters are the FARKE in brigade. I would suggest a lot of them are now coming around to the fact that something needs to change. We can talk, I'm not going to go into all the stuff I've talked about in the previous videos, but we can talk about his tactics, which we know are absolutely pathetic. We can talk about his in-game management, pathetic. His subs, pathetic. He's just out of his depth, and we know that. The 49ers have a responsibility, and they have a responsibility to us, the fans, as paying customers who buy merchandise, who fly to games, who go every week, who travel away. Whenever you are taking that hardcore away support, and those fans are angry, very angry, then you're lost, you're done, you're toast. It gets to a point where it's not if, it's just when. I want to make a point, and I like Graham Smith, and I like Brian Cross, and I like all the local journos, but I don't really rate what he says in this instant, and I'll tell you why. Graham Smith, Brian Cross, all the local journos, when we were in Germany in the summer, Brian Cross came out and he said, we're not getting a goalkeeper. They're happy with Dardo. They're happy with this, that, and on. And these boys were at the training camp, and within hours, I mean, literal an hour or two later, we agreed, we confirmed the Perry signing. Let's get real. The local journos know as much as, probably a wee bit more than us, but they only know what they're being told. They only know what the 49ers want them to know when they want them to know it. The 49ers in America treat the media exactly how we are seeing the Yorkshire Evening Post, the Athletic, and other organisations that cover Leeds. We are seeing exactly the same type of press management by the 49ers. When the 49ers make a decision, and they will, they have to, we will be told via independent, i.e. not linked to the club, someone like the Daily Mail. It'll be a breaking news from a big name. It might even come out from the other end, i.e. Valencia, the Spanish journalists, La Marca. And I say that because a lot of our signings this season, in the summer, the 49ers had watertight local journals and English journals. There was a couple. David Ornstein was quite good. But then the vast majority of our breaking news was coming from other clubs, other countries. For example, Perry came out of nowhere. We sort of knew we were linked to him. Goodmanson, we knew we were linked to him, but that came from France. They all initially came from France. Then the likes of the Evening Post and the Athletic and all piggybacked on him. I'm not diminishing those outlets at all, because I think they are the lifeblood of a football club and holding truth to power. But what I'm saying is, I just don't think Graham Smith will have the answers. He may well be stunned if FARKE goes, but the fact is, it's not if, it's when. There's a number of people linked to the job. And whenever you see the list, some of them are not really inspiring. What I did see today was this. Curtis Corberan, apparently going by some ITKs, is not just in the running for the job. He is possibly going to be in agreement with the club to take the job. What that means, I don't know. It's possibly a load of crap. We don't know until we know. But it is coming from people who have been right in the past. Other people don't listen to them and don't like them. And some of them are FARKE out, so the likelihood is that they may well be wrong. But I'm gonna give you a breakdown. We know Curtis Corberan. Why do we know Curtis Corberan? Because he was the under 23 coach at Leeds under Bielsa. We all know that. He knows the club. He knows the layout. He knows the fans. He knows the DNA of the club. He knows the place inside out. That's a positive. And I'm going to go through a few things, because people will automatically go, hold on, Corberan, he's not an upgrade. He has no way in upgrading FARKE. What has he done? And, at the end of the day, and I get that. I do get that. But we have to look at how he wants to play. We have to look at other things. I'm not saying he's the right man. I've got my question marks over Corberan. But let's give him a look. I am a definite, let's move on from FARKE, so let's get the best man we can get. I think Royce is probably the leading candidate for me, from what I can see. Whether there's anything in that, I don't know. But whenever you look at Curtis Corberan, he's sitting currently 4th from bottom in La Liga. That is not very inspiring. if you're a fan of Leeds United. It's also not very inspiring if you're a critic of Daniel Farke or you're a Farke in. So they would have to spin it, the 49ers would have to spin this in such a way as to get the fans to actually come to terms with, yeah, Corberan's decent. And there's a few different ways of doing that. And there's a few different things that I want to touch on today. And I'll just touch on them now. So we know Corberan left Leeds. He went to Huddersfield with a very, I would say, a very limited team at Huddersfield. He just missed out. And he ended up going to West Brom. But in between that, people will look at, he went to Olympiacos. Didn't do well at Olympiacos. He only lasted 11 games. Yeah, he did. Who is the owner of Olympiacos? Who is the owner? He's already went through 2 managers. He's on his 3rd this season at Nottingham Forest. Marinakis. He wasn't given a real opportunity at Olympiacos. And let's be honest, Marinakis isn't exactly the most reliable whenever it comes to ownership, instability and things like that. So I take the Olympiacos one with a pinch of salt. But he went to West Brom. And he done well. He had 100 odd games for West Brom. Again, West Brom and Huddersfield. Yes, West Brom's a bigger club. They were looking to get back in the Premier League. The problem with West Brom was they couldn't spend a lot of money. So they invested in Corberan, who ultimately invested his time and effort in bringing through some youth. And he did the same at Huddersfield, trying to bring through youth there. Ultimately, at Valencia, he's found himself in a similar position as well. So Corberan is currently managing Valencia. I think they've 10 games played. They've got 10 points. They're 4th from bottom. Simple as that. They're 4th from bottom. Doesn't strike any confidence at this stage. However, what does strike confidence in me, in a way that I think most of us have been crying out, is Corberan this season predominantly he's been playing like if you look on different sites, it'll say 4-2-3-1, but it actually sort of lines up similar to like a 4-2-2-3, similar to that. He is the keeper pushing up. He pushes up in behind the 2 centre backs when in possession, and the 2 attacking midfield. He's got 2 attacking midfielders, more central, closer to the striker, in the middle, and then he's got 2 outside left, outside right. So going forward, you've actually got 5 men. Now, it can lead to problems on the counter, which is why we need big, physical and athletic midfielders to cover. But he counters that with 2 midfielders that can run. So you've got 3 up front and 2 attacking midfielders behind them. Then you've got 2 central midfielders. You take your 2 most athletic centre midfielders and they sit in front of that back 4 and they scan. They cover the full backs and they hold that centre of the pitch. It will work against lesser teams. But he has also shown that he has tried to change tactics against better teams, especially after he was obviously drubbed 6-0 by Barcelona. He's also lost a few games to lesser opposition. So there's a lot of criticism as well as the positives there. I can see the fact that he's got the ability to change in game makes sense to me, because at the minute for us, we are in a position where we are 4-3-3 and that's it. And last 10 minutes, if we're a couple of goals down, what he does, Farke throws on, makes sure that there's 3 strikers in the pitch, takes off a left back, puts on a left winger at left back, takes off a centre back with 10 minutes to go, puts on another centre back. Doesn't really do much other than we give away a penalty, we lose the game. he completely loses the impetus. FARKE has not done anything well this season when it comes to in-game management, in-game subs. There is no plan B. Plan A doesn't work, do plan A again. Plan A doesn't work, and plan A is crap anyway, and I've already discussed the feelings with that. I'm not really going to go into an entire tactical breakdown of Curtis Corberan. We all know, we've seen him at West Brom with limited budgets and stuff. He's done alright. We've seen him at Huddersfield do very well, actually. It's why his stock rose quite quick. It's why we were linked to him before. When he was at West Brom, he signed a new deal. We wouldn't pay the $2 million to get him out of the deal. Ultimately, that resulted us over time going for FARKE. But a couple of things, it's like, a couple of things stands out to me. He can play, his teams line up at times 5-4-1 in defensive shape. And when they get the ball and they go on the attack, the two full-backs, i.e. wing-backs, they push forward. So you've got three at the back. The central defender pushes forward, leaving you two at the back with the keeper going forward. It's very similar to the chaos that Bielsa ensued and made sure it happened at Elland Road. It's just with Valencia, unfortunately for Corberan, at Valencia, he doesn't have the quality of player. And he doesn't have the genius of Bielsa. So he's stuck between a rock and a hard place there. Valencia have had quite a few issues over the last couple of years. They've had a number of real problems. In relation to finances, Valencia has had to sell a number of key players just for a PSR and whatever the Spanish version of that is, and financial stability. And then they invested the money they had into their youth. So if you look at actually one of our players is there, Largi Ramazani, he's not even making an impact. He's one of their most valuable players, yet he's not making an impact. He's currently injured, actually. So Valencia have had to sell off some of their crown jewels. They've had to invest in young players and bring them through. They've also had to reduce wages, which means they can't attract the top quality young players to the club. So Valencia's caught in a very, very tricky scenario where they're going to have to hedge their bets on their manager to bring them success with a very, very, very limited squad. And I don't think he's going to... Look, he may stay up because, let's be honest, there's always three worse clubs in Spain. There, some of them are atrocious, and they're just yo-yo clubs. They're worse than any, than some of the teams in the Premier League going up and down. Some of these teams really are bad. But the problem is, if he can't turn around and if he can't bring in any players to change or freshen it up because of wages or because of the lack of funds. The main, he brought in Largi Ramazani. Largi Ramazani, he's on loan. And he was one of their big signings in the summer with a lot of hope, because obviously they knew him from before in Spain. And it hasn't worked. And it hasn't worked because obviously Largi's not playing. He's also now picked up an injury. But there's a lot of background issues. A lot of discontent within the fans. A lot of discontent surrounding the ownership, surrounding the financial situation. They're obviously now, the fans are obviously now not happy with what's happening on the pitch. They're fourth from bottom. Does it fill you with confidence if Corberan comes to Leeds? Probably off the bat, no. Knowing what he's up against in Spain is probably the most difficult situation he's actually been up against. If you take away the Olympiacos thing, it's probably the most difficult situation that there is in his career up to this date. So the other thing is, apparently, and I don't quote me on this, but there's been quite a few management and behind the scenes changes. And with that, you bring in a number of players. And those number of players, the turnover, You get left with some players who was there from the previous manager, or the manager before that, and you've got a whole mix of different types of player that don't particularly suit the way you want to play. And he's stuck with that. And the problem is he can't sell them, because if he sells them, they're technically the better player with the most value. But at the same time, he needs to bring in his own people. But at the same time, he has no money to do that. So I think, unfortunately for him, he's just in a real sticky, real sad situation. He'll either really rise and keep them up and the fans will be happy, and claim the table, or they go down and he's going to be deemed a failure. It's similar to FARKE here, but the problem is FARKE's had £100 million, £100 million to spend. Plus, we've brought in last season players who he has let go. Matteo, you can debate this all you want. Matteo Joseph, Largi Ramazani, Joffe. I'm not saying them boys get in the team. What I'm saying is Joffe's on fire. Matteo Joseph's starting for Mallorca and the under-21s in Spain. He's not prolific in any way, but he is starting in La Liga. Then you have Largi, who's injured currently for Valencia, and that's one thing. The issue is we have Brendan Aronson, and statistically in the championship last season, defensively, Largi Ramazani per minutes was far better than Brendan Aronson defensively. So if that's the case per minute, and going forward, Largi Ramazani per minute played was one of the most constructive going forward. So what makes you think he can't do it in the Premier League? You never give him a chance. So Joffe's at Hull. He's flying, absolutely flying. He's about to really take off. The lad, I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the 21s. He probably is actually, but he is absolute. And you know what? Fair play to Joffe, because the lad deserves it. He's had absolutely a horrible couple of years as a bit part player and an under-21 player at our club, and he deserves that. He definitely does. But we can look back. If FARKE wants to look back over the last 2 years and say, but he's got his 90-point trophy in the bag. Yeah, okay, you failed in the first season. You got 90 points. You didn't go up. You got beat by Russell Martin in the final. You get beat by Russell Martin in the league. You got schooled, let's be honest. Russell Martin, who's now failed at Rangers, schooled him. Then we had to sell Archie Gray. We had to sell Rudder. We had to sell Somerville. The best players in the league, by the way. Over £100 million worth of talent. Those three alone. Charlie Cresswell ended up going because you didn't like his dad. He's flying now for Toulouse in France. I think it's Toulouse. We sold him for 3 or 4 million. He's worth between 15 and 20, going by reports in France. I'm not saying he would have made it at Leeds. What I'm saying is there is a theme of the youth constantly falling out with FARKE. Cantwell fell out with him at Norwich. Buendia fell out with him at Norwich. Ramazani at Leeds. You could go on and on and on. Cresswell, you could go on and on and on. Then we go into last season when we won the league. I'm going to make a point. Last season when we won that league, we won it. We got 100 points. We had the best attack. We had the best team. The most. We had one of the smallest squads, but one of the most expensive squads in Championship. One of the dearest squads when it comes to wages in Championship history. If we did not go up last season, it would have been an absolutely catastrophic failure of management. But when you have the best in each position, for the most part, you're going to win. I could stand on the sideline and I put out the players that he put out, or whatever. They're going to win a lot of games. I made it my point in the last video. Monner Solomon pops up last day of the season, 91st minute, wins a trophy. Why? Individual genius. Individual genius, not tactics from Daniel FARKE. There's not an awful lot of games last season where you could turn around and go, the tactics of Daniel FARKE made the difference. I'll give you an example. 7-0 against Cardiff. We beat them, hammered them. Men against boys. That was not tactics. It was because Cardiff are shit and because Leeds United, with the quality and the money that's on that pitch, that's what we should be doing most games in the Championship. The levels in the Premier League are vastly different. Vastly different. I think Corberan has got to be in a conversation. And the reason I think he has to be in the conversation is because of his link to Leeds United. It's because of his link to Bielsa. It's because of he's managed now in a top league across in Spain under really strenuous conditions. I'm not saying he's the right man at all. Some people will say no. Some people will say yes. What I will say is this. We know Corberan will 100% change things. He will defend when he has to defend. He will play 5-4-1 when he has to. He will play a 4-2-3-1. He will play high press. He will play long ball. He will do what it takes to win the game. He's schooled in the Bielsa way. He was on the training ground every day with Bielsa. He knows he's a Bielsa disciple. It may not work, but something has to give. Daniel FARKE, I was going to talk about other comments about Daniel FARKE. I'm not going to, because Daniel FARKE, in my opinion, is toast. It's just a matter of when we pop it. We give him the next 8 games, we're done. Jesse Marsh was sacked after 20 games. 4 wins, 3 draws, 13 defeats. 13 defeats. 4 wins, 3 draws, 13 defeats. In 20 games, he had 15 points. In and around that, I think. Could be wrong. Whatever. Fact check me. Point is, we currently have 11 points in 11 games. We are now playing Villa, Chelsea, City, Chelsea, Liverpool. And then we go on another 4, which are not easy. So after 15 games, if we have 11 points, are people going to bite the bullet then? Or we'll just give them another 4 because they were hard games. We'll give them the 4 that we might get something from. So we go another 4 games and we get the 1st of January. And we maybe get 3 points there. But we're now at 13 or 14 points. And you've played 18 or 19 games. When are people going to actually accept this man in Premier League is Jesse Marsh with a German accent? We'll have to accept it. We'll have to get real. I am not Daniel FARKE fan club. I am not a Daniel FARKE supporter. I'm a Leeds United supporter. I'm a Leeds United fan. I want the best for my club. The best for my club is to get him out. The 49ers owe it to the fans. They owe it to their investors. They owe it to themselves. If they want to build a massive stadium, they can't do that in the Championship. They can't do it. If we go to the Championship, there's no guarantee that we're coming up. We were there for 16 years on lower. There's no guarantee. So let's get real. I'm not saying I just quickly scanned over Corberan. Very, very quickly. Because he's one person that has come out in the last sort of few hours to be seriously linked. And there's ATKs. Take that with a pinch of salt you want. I just thought of touching it. I touched on Royce yesterday. I'm sure we'll touch on Steven Gerrard and Brendan Rodgers and Graham Potter and all them people that we don't want at the club. But the reality is we need something to change. We need something to change. We have 10, 12 days. before the next game. 12 days, I think it is. We have international duty. Get somebody in now. Otherwise, we are going down, and there's nothing anybody can do with Daniel FARKE in charge. Nothing. I want to just say as well, there's a few people linked at the club, employed by the club. Stuart Dallas has got his coaching badges. Ian Cooper, I think, has confirmed his coaching badges as well. Stuart Dallas has opened up a football academy over here in Cookstown. Should them boys definitely should surely Stuart Dallas should be on that coaching staff, and people can say, "Oh, what has he done? What has he done? He's done. You know what he's done? He gave his career for Leeds United. He gave us one of the best days we've had in 20 odd years as a supporter. He's a legend, 100% a legend. He will show the leadership to the players from the sideline, from the training ground. Get him on the coaching staff. Get him. See this crap about being an ambassador? That man's more than an ambassador. That man talks sense. He knows what he's talking about. He's played at the highest level. He gave blood, sweat and tears to our jersey. He gave his career for our jersey. How is he not on our coaching staff? There's one reason why. And that one reason needs to go. Listen, I'll probably be on later. I'm hoping I'll come on later and actually announce the fact that FARKE is gone. We'll see. Fingers crossed. 49ers, over to you. Do the job. Get rid. We can't keep going the way we're going, or we are going down. And we will be going down on a whimper. We, as a fan base, will not surrender. We'll be there when we're going. If the worst happens, we'll be there. We will not support. We will always support the boys. We'll always get behind them. That's who we are. We've had many, many dark days, but we will continue going on and on and on. It's what we do. It is what we do. In them dark days, we're there for them boys on the pitch. But those boys on the pitch have to give their all. And there's too many of them not at the level. And when your manager and his team aren't at the level, well then, you're a dead duck. Thanks for tuning in. This has been a long one. Bit of a ramble. Like, comment, subscribe, please. It really helps. And I'll hopefully see you in a wee bit. Marching on together. And thanks for watching Racel 1919.